Hello everyone. Today I would like to talk about a very inspiring topic, but at the same time a topic that hasn't been talked about a lot. And so I want to talk about what we do when we're in that subtle state, when there is nothing but a moment of emptiness. And what that means is it is an awareness of conception in a sense that there is before there is any conception. So there's a sense of result, which is a focused sense of time and space, and there is a sense of cause, that is, or source, that is not extending into space and time. So when you recognize the subtlety in thought, you realize it's all about you becoming more aware of yourself. You set the frames because you are the one approaching truth. And so there is some truth in that walk. You will see that when we look at our subtler levels of thought, if we relate them to physicality, we are creating confusion. Because the awareness to something and that thing are totally different states of position. And so states of consideration. And so similar to how if man just opened his eyes and just saw that he was the one allowing all designs to be perceived, there would never really be a doubt in the design of creation. You really will not doubt the processes that originate you. You cannot doubt them. In other words, I have seen many conception points, and they all lead down to a sense of confrontation that is another extension. So imagine an extension getting a different sense by extending itself. And what that means is that we are creating a sense of opposition because that is how the temporal reality here is positioned. You know yourself in ways where you can unlock many things, many knowings, many abilities. These abilities don't have physical value. Their value is in the alignment they bring you by constantly giving you an instant sense of presence in regards to any cause and effect condition. An instant being is not affected by one that lags. And so it's all about your knowing. Because if you are failing, how do you know you have failed? How do you know if you have hit rock bottom? Because you agree to a certain range of perception. All our problems originate because our imagery is simply not the essence of our totality. There's a simple sense of illusion, there's a sense of distance. You look into your own eyes at some point and very prayerfully stop asking yourself, who am I? And just dissolve into the next experience, which is always now. You see, any artist that wants to communicate art or any work of art is at first confronted with the ability to express the self. And so the self is a very omnipotent subject. It is very deep in design, and so how a certain frame is created really shows you how the picture is held. You need to develop a sense of comfort in which you not having an idea is as okay as you having an idea. You need to adjust the intensity and quality of your reality to one that gives you more existential allowance, more freedom to be you know. And so you see, when man is not free to be in the physical, what has he done? Always try to transcend it. So many people feel that this is a prison planet because there are many more ways that we are being expressed. And so I have even talked about multidimensional experience, but multidimensional experience is still no reason to not confront the immediate. What that means is many people believe that they need to go to the Pure Lands. But once you bring the Pure Lands to yourself, you're no longer in the lowest point as you have began from the peak. Look at nature and look at everything. Look at shape. Know that your sense of love can even extend to anything that is shaped and formed. In other words, once you look at the design, once you look that things are shaped, but also have a sense of awareness to that which is unshaped by being, in a sense, you really see the beauty in who we are is its development. And so man thinks he has come here to do certain things, but in essence, man has come here to develop that which is unknown into the known. If you read the last book on, let's say, anything, and you were the only one, would you communicate that knowledge or not? And you will see, you would not communicate it. But the mere essence of what the topic is can be pointed to. You see, guys, a reason why a lot of beings cannot directly tell you truth, and the reason they shouldn't, is because everyone is molded differently in regards to how much existential confrontation they have done. And what that means is that you begin unconsciously being a grain of sand constantly washed back and forth into the shores of time and space. But as you begin to recognize that every position you have ever been pushed into is your road, you will get a sense of profound knowing by simply knowing when to go through certain, I guess in a sense you could say, intuitive / ritualistic approaches to the self-allowance that provides nothing but the truth that was present. Man must learn to confront all that is present comfortably, and to also be able to confront the sense of presence in self more than just the individual. Think of what kind of human beings will be walking here in 1,000 years, 4,000 years. Imagine the type of reality, and based on that feeling, act. And you will realize, based on that feeling, based on someone who wants to be 4,000 years ahead, you would be someone who wants to make every moment of your life pushing us further to a reality that is that ahead. And it is not that it is just a game you're playing with yourself, even though it may seem. It is that out of the games that we are given, what is it that the players are required to do? And so the player first has the sense to its individuality, but then as it goes through life experience and it gets involved with life, collectively it knows that what it is here to do is exactly the same purpose as all else present. And once you recognize this, you just become a conscious emissary of your infinite unknown, of the unconscious that holds treasures simply because you are those conceptions. What that means is that it doesn't matter how the light has been separated into colors, because with different colored pencils, it's all up to the attention of the artist that is here now. And so many great writers and many great teachers, spiritual teachers, will find themselves being pulled into the greatest confrontations of their life, which will be to acknowledge that all that they have spoken does not exist. Once you acknowledge a past that cannot be captured in image, that cannot be captured in language, structure, in position, you will see that those who were never present in this dimension of immediate focus could always see through it clearly, because on another subtler level they were an experience of the whole experience that is you. There are many subtler planes, and these open up, and we need to realize there is something very beautiful happening, guys. The things I'm talking about, it is not just something happening to me. It is happening to a few others, because the beings that are going to be landing soon, and when I say landing, in other words, the types of human beings that are going to be born are going to emanate certain unique patterns in which we need to already have developed certain consciousness technologies in which our imagination is no longer imagination, but the gold mine in which all knowledge was picked to be treasured. You will see that in this plane of existence, we are all pilots of consciousness. And that is the title I am going forward with, because as a pilot, I want to train others into becoming capable pilots. And a pilot recognizes that his certainty always comes from the self, a pilot of consciousness, because consciousness finds itself once the self is lost. And in that unspeakable experience, you're no longer distracted by conception, but you become the mere presence of that which needs to be done. You become the action of the cosmos, and so there was no wind that ever touched your face. We need to begin realizing that meditation is nice. All this stuff is nice. But we have a certain recording. We've been born and we are a conscious moment of potential for humanity. And what that means is that we are here to stretch the human experience as us. So be comfortable being yourself, but now become aware of that self in much deeper ways. In other words, you will see life throw you into complex situations where you will recognize the answer is very simple. And so constantly you will see that complexity and simplicity do not need to fight in ways where you feel you are being hurt in between, but you will become such an emanation of yourself that all those who thought the stars were distant they will see that life is more than an immense burst into the unknown, but an allowance for the hidden. To become unhidden by its very nature, by its simple nature, by its utter being. As human beings prepare for greater confrontation of abstract realms, they will see that they are not alone, in that the imagination of the individual is organized by a clarity that comes from a natural existential flow which we are present in. Once you see the intelligence that is here, you cannot be there. You cannot. Remember a pilot of consciousness looks both ways. And what that means is that when I speak, I am originating reality. I am creating planes of conception which become different meanings for different years. And so language must not be taken lightly. It must turn into the delicacy of the Zen master's mindful pouring of tea into the cup. It must become as sharp as the arrow that hit the enemy in a way where the enemy never existed. You will see the elegance in the swordsman that became one with the sword. You will see that even the drunken master knows how to kick himself out. Of that which is too sober to let go. Be comfortable with your ideas and acknowledge them in ways where you're allowing yourself to just see what they are without trying anything. Once you recognize the beauty in natural observance, it becomes a gift you have present with you in the moment. In other words, just close your eyes and just feel existence existing. And then you will see the beauty of man was his ability to be in many worlds. While just being in one. Much blessings and namaste, guys.